Well, hello, Zero Nutters, and how are we all doing on this rather cold day? Yes, here on the West Coast we are expecting a massive storm front to move in and stick with us through this wonderful little weekend of ours. It shall be soggy. So what is Zero Nut doing? Zero Nut's taking advantage of this little time to, well, talk about artistic freedom and video editing. Mainly video editing with a drone. Let's do this. Alright, Nutters, here we have our movie editor all booted up here. What I want to do is just kind of go over some editing tips, but just little things that might make your drone footage, you know, a little bit nicer, set it apart from the rest, and just overall make it more enjoyable to watch. So let's take this clip here, and this is the first clip. This is the takeoff clip, and really quick before we start this, today we're going to work and kind of emphasize on mode 1. Because mode 1 is a beautiful mode, and although mode 1 is not the mode where you get the speed and the agility, if it's not windy and it's a beautiful day and you want to take really good shots and really good photography and just maximize that VCam or your GoPro, mode 1 is the place to do it, guys. I think you can manhandle that joystick pretty hard, and you will never see the little red lights like this shining down in your footage as it would so easily in 2 and very easily in 3. First tip, those lights do turn off. because even if you're in say mode 1 and those lights are not plainly visible, I can tell you that if it is darker out, you will still see the glare of the red. But before we get to the footage, let's make this just a little bit nicer. And what I like to do first thing is get rid of what you see right here, because no one needs to see your drone taking off from a ground position. That is not it's not attractive. Your head's on the ground. It's gutter. And it baffles me to this day why people leave that in their footage. I mean, that's why you have a video editor, for God's sakes, is to get rid of that kind of stuff and make it nicer for people to watch. So we'll just get rid of that and have kind of fade in here. And there you have a really nice example of mode 1. See how it just floats along? If I want to get a really good shot over water or something, I'm probably going to do it in mode 1. First, to make it nicer, we got rid of that ridiculous beginning. So right when we start, your viewer's just going to come right into this. I mean, isn't that what your eyes want to see? Just right off the bat. Who needs to see your drone sitting on the ground? Really, no one. Second little tip here is the avoidance of going back and forth. And to do that, first of all, you want to practice flying so that your flights are not a linear journey, forward and then backward the opposite direction. Try to avoid just going straight forward and straight back. And if you are going to go straight forward and straight back, make it interesting by finding a subject, a topic, a targeting point that you're going to go for. And if you're going to go for that point, hit that point. Don't come up to that point and then come back, kind of wimp out. Because that visually, that's just, you're kind of wimping out. If you're going to go forward towards a section in the trees, don't just go up to it, go all the way up and through it, past it. So you're completing that whole thought, you're completing that whole phrase. Imagine, if you will, your flight being a conversation. Well, if you start your conversation here and the end of your conversation is here, and you stop here, and it's it's just kind of visually frustrating because the viewer never gets to see the full journey, the full gamut. Never gets to rest their eyes. So if you're going to go one way, which we are, go all the way, take it all the way so you have this follow through. I didn't just go to the barn and then back. The viewer wants to just keep going and see it all. Alright, so once I viewed my video and I kind of know what's there and I have an idea of the journey I took, I'll go through and, for instance, let's start here and I'll find starting points and ending points. And I'll just look for the action. So here is let's see, we'll just scrub this real quick. Here's a starting point. And generally I'll just clip that out. So I know this is a starting point, and I'll just separate that there, play it out a little ways, and I'll see where that's going. How far is that going? And I'll just follow it through. And what I'm doing is I'm basically clipping out little parts of this big story that we're going to tell. Or just little stories within the story, or within the whole clip that we're going to make. So this is going to obviously be an action shot right here. Nice little piece. And that shot's going to end about right there and fade out. You want to give yourself a little bit of extra room there for the fade, and you know, it's non-destructive editing, so you can always pull that out again. But I'm going to end that about right there. And then I'm just going to set that aside as a clip. I can go in here and look for some more action shots. And I just call them little action shots. So I'll go back. Where does this one start? This one basically starts right there with me turning the camera. And notice I'm going to cut out mechanical turns and things like that. I'm going to cut those out so it's all one nice smooth cut. And we'll see where this one goes here. Very smooth. It turns off. And that's a nice little turn, very smooth turn. I got lucky. And I would just keep this clip, I'd maybe end it like right there, yeah. In that one, obviously right there, because it gets to see that. I don't want that, no one wants that. So I'll just cut that out. And I'm going to keep this clip, just move this down here. And basically what I'm doing is I'm just building all these little clips that I know I can use. And we'll move on. I don't want that. So this would be the beginning of another clip right there. I can tell it's going to start. And we'll just clip that away. Get rid of that. See where this goes. Nice little floating effect there. Oh, this is just ghosty. That's really nice. Now you see it's a dark day. It's a dark, cloudy day. Not a lot of fun. Not the best day to be taking pictures. But hey, who's to say I can't just throw some filters on this and just get all spacey with it, you know? It's always exciting to see where it goes. Don't be too quick to just snip it and edit, cut something out where it goes somewhere. Always find out where it's going to go before you stop it. That whole shot wasn't too bad. So that's a nice long clip I could use right there. And this first clip here, that's a really nice clip right there. And once again, we are working with mode 1. All we're seeing today is mode 1. And once again, all these clips, you'll never see the front of that zero come down and mess up your shot. So you see there, I came forward and then I backed out. The good thing about this clip, the bad thing is I came forward and it's very boring, came forward and backed out. The good thing is there was a conclusion to where I was going, so the viewer did get a visual of what was behind the tree, what was to come, which is nice. But if I were to actually use that, I think I would get about right there and then just cut that and clip it out and go looking for my next piece, which would probably start somewhere around there. That's a pretty cool shot right there. So yeah, I'd start right about there. And then you just blend those together like that. See how that turns out. So my shot's going to come forward. The viewer's going to get to see what's there. Actually started panning back from beyond that point. Now in this I just take it really, really, really slow. floating along. If you're going to do some distance, you know, shooting a linear shot just forward and back can be very interesting. If, you know, if there's a lot of things in between point A and B, it can be super interesting. Especially when you're traveling at a speed like this. And remember, when you're flying slow, you can always slow it down. Or excuse me, you can always speed it up. So you got the editing options. You can always speed something up. As we know, copters generate a lot of noise. So it's really useless to have a mic on it because that mic's only going to pick up the chopper noise. Your chopper video doesn't have any sound on it. So if you want to add sound effects, you don't just add music. If you're in the forest, why not make it sound like a forest? If you're at the ocean, why not make it sound like a beach? You picking up what I'm saying? So if you have a nice assortment of music, it's always a wise idea, you know, if you want to make things interesting, to have a nice assortment of sound effects. I hope you get something out of this. Maybe not. Maybe you could share some tips with me. If nothing else, lose the freaking beginnings and endings, man. Just snip those things off. No one wants to see your freaking drone on the ground taking off. And love it, guys. Enjoy it. And remember, you don't need an expensive video editor at all. If you're not in the budget for a expensive video editor, get a $99 one. I'll tell you what, Magic's Pro Edit, $159. It kicks butt, does everything you need it to do. Also, a lot of these companies, listen up, like Adobe, you can rent it for like 10 bucks a month, 20 bucks a month, and then you got like total professional wear. But you didn't have to plop out 600 bucks for it, 800 bucks, and own it, because you just rent it. And you use it when you use it, you don't use it when you don't use it. That's it. So, peace.